Hi everybody, Lorien here, and this is the first in a new series that I've been thinking of doing for a while, which is actually how to make sets of oils for your magical use or just everyday use if you wanted. Now, I don't recommend ingesting these oils. So these are basically, as far as I'm aware for myself, they're very safe to use on your skin, but I would always use an oil which is very good for sensitive skin anyway. And also some of these ingredients, sometimes you may have a reaction that you didn't expect. So just to make you aware, if you are planning on wearing these oils, make sure that you're not allergic to any of the kind of ingredients, shall we say, that we're kind of going to look at today. So this today is going to be basically an introduction to how to make basic love oil. This is what I use on my spells for clients, and sometimes spells for me too, but not often. But this is basically something that just comes up all the time for spells for clients and stuff like that. And just thought I'd show you if any other witches out there or any people want to try it themselves. This is quite a good set of ingredients that work for me, and I hope that they work for you guys too, to be honest. Okay, so the first thing obviously that you need is a bottle. Now, you can have a clear bottle if you like to see all the pretty stuff, like with this one I've got the protection oil. It's smaller than I'd like because I keep running out, but you can see all the ingredients in there. So this is just, I was in a charity shop the other day actually, and this is just an essential oils bottle that my mum found in a pack of like 6 for like £2. So if you can, maybe just look at the wholesale ones. This is a 10mm pack, and it also has the little dabber, which is really cool, so you can kind of pop that in and kind of just make sure that the oil comes out in dabs rather than spilling it all over your fingers when the time comes. So what I normally do is, I've seen this doing on various ones. Now I've got a little bit of amber incense here. Now amber to me is quite a sensual colour and gives quite a sensual scent as well. So because this is love oil, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in here and kind of get rid maybe of all the negative energies. I mean, I'm not thinking that there's been a lot of negative energies in the charity shop, but just in case, because I doubt anybody would really want to be seen as charity anyway in their love spells and things like that. That's kind of cool. You could see all the smoke in there. Anyway, I'll leave that there now. Alright, so you have a choice of ingredients, and I will list everything down below just in case. But there are jasmine flowers for beauty, you can include that. You can include passion flower, which is not just for passion, it's also about emotional balance with the other person. You can also have rose hips, which are very good for kind of the female ailments, but also for your soulmate. So they can be used in kind of different spells and different mixtures to actually attract a soulmate and stuff like that. Hibiscus is very good. I don't have any rose hips or hibiscus, unfortunately. That's sometimes what I put in, but that's good for lust and love, hibiscus is, and sometimes even divination of seeing the person that you're going to see, as well as, the kind of I think that's just the general feel of what you want to attract as well. Now we are going to be using echinacea in this one, and that always enhances the power of a spell or the power of an oil or stuff like that. So I would always recommend if you could actually have that involved, that kind of stuff, just to kind of make sure that you have a good potency in that. Now you can always use things that are found around your house as well, so ginger obviously for a little bit of spice in the relationship. You can have rosemary, which is also what I'm going to use here, which is basically the Aphrodite herb. So basically if you're using something to call in Aphrodite, that's fine, but I just use it because of the associations with her. Also you've got rose petals I'm going to be using as well. You've got cinnamon, which can again it's like I think Lady Gravedancer had a lot of talks about how good cinnamon is. It's kind of like an all-round spice and craft basically. And I'm going to be using grapeseed oil, which, because it's just associated to me grapes with like love and feeding each other grapes and stuff like that, and also it smells sweet, so that's kind of why I'm going to be using this one. Okay, so I'm just going to open this first of all, because that'd be good, wouldn't it, if I actually opened the stuff that I'm going to be using rather than fiddling around everywhere. Okay, so that's open now. What I'm also going to be using is red glitter. Now this is optional, but it's kind of like, for me it represents glamour, attraction, sparkly things like, ooh, what's over here? So it gets people's attention maybe. And if you want to, I don't always do this, but have some red string or some red cord that you can tie around the top in a nice little bow. It's just the association of the colour with the kind of spell or money that you're doing. Oil that you're doing. Some people also tend to put rose quartz in the bottom of the bottles, or sometimes even red jasper, because it's all about the root chakra and stuff like that. I personally do not have any crystals that I'm willing to kind of put in a bottle, because I know you can get the little chips and stuff, but I haven't been able to acquire any of them. You can also, if you want to, burn a red candle as you're doing it. So that's absolutely up to you 100% on what you want to do with that. Okay, so I've cleansed this bottle, everything like that, and what I'm going to be doing first is adding all the ingredients into this for you. Oh, and also, sorry, I forgot Damiana, which I believe is something to do with balance and love as well. Let me just have a look at my little book here. Damiana is lust, love, and basically vision in relationships. So yeah, basically lust and love. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is some rosemary. Now you don't have to be like loads of it, because I've only got like a 10 milliliter bottle, but I usually do it in threes, so I do 3 little sprinkles. And the reason I have got this pentacle underneath me is because the sprinkles will go everywhere. So there we go. Passion flower. Oh, if I can get it open. Also, it goes good to create a mood when you're actually doing oils and stuff like that. So if you wanted to kind of create a playlist, because I respond really well to music, so if you wanted to kind of create a playlist for when you're doing certain magic, like money magic, wealth magic, love magic, anything, it could actually really help you in kind of what you want to do and the kind of enchantment that you're trying to achieve. Okay, so I'll put a little bit of Damiana in there. Oh, as well. Really hard to open those jars. 1, 2, 3. Now, to me, it doesn't really matter if you make a mess, because, you know, it's still kind of connected to the spell there. Okay, now, this is my little herb box, because I get little packs like this from Freya's Cauldron, which is on eBay, and I think she's in Yorkshire somewhere. Let me just have a look. Oh, there we go, jasmine flowers. And there we go, echinacea. So for me, I'm going to be having jasmine flowers, which is all about kind of the beauty and things in regards to it, and also going to be putting some echinacea in there too. These are basically, that's for beauty, and this is to kind of enhance the power of the spell that I'm already doing at this point in time. Okay, so those are in there. Now, I'm in two minds about using cinnamon this time because sometimes it can be very powering. But I would say that if you do want a very good kind of potent aroma, say if you're wanting to wear it around, I would recommend jasmine oil and maybe a little bit of cinnamon. Also, if you wanted to wear ginger or have ginger in here, that can also be really good. But I don't think I'm going to use it in this one. For some reason, it just seems to be coming through as not to do it. In regards to oils for this one, I am going to use a little bit of lavender when I put the grapeseed oil in. Okay, so rose petals. Now, contrary to popular belief, when rose petals are dry, they do not stay pink unless you maybe pickle them or something like that. I don't know how you do. But these are from the tree in my garden. I've got, well, the rose bush in my garden, and I've stored it in well, I've stored it in a chocolate spread jar, an old chocolate spread jar, because to me chocolate is all about kind of the sensuality and sweetness and kind of indulgent. So I kind of put the roses in here to get the energy of like the pleasure that the chocolate, eating the chocolate, would give to the people who've actually eaten it. So that's kind of like the energy of that going into here. I did wash it, obviously. But these are from some flowers that weren't in full bloom. They were just on the turn into kind of shriveling up and falling off. So the leaves were already, flowers, petals were already falling off when I did these. And I put them in here, and there you can see all in there. But I'm not going to be using them because they're a bit too big. I'm going to be using these little rose petals here. Now I got these from a tea shop that came through to like a Mediterranean kind of tea shop thing, market thing that came round, and it says even here it's like can be used for a calming effect, cleanses body of toxins containing vitamin C, alleviates colds, good for digestive system. But I'm not going to use it for that. I'm going to use it for the love oil. So you'll see how they're a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to put these in here. If I can. Okay. Maybe I can't put any more in than that because it seems to be a little bit full. So, alright. Now, if you were using a crystal, I would recommend that you put it in first, at the first off, and then everything can kind of float around it. And then comes the glitter for me. So now, obviously, if you're using glitter, you have to be a little bit careful because it can go everywhere, and if it goes everywhere, it will stick. So I've still got some left on this pentagram board as well. So just do whatever you feel like, however much you feel like putting in. How are we doing with that? A little bit, but I think I might do a little bit more. Okay, so I've managed to get some more in here. I mean, it's a shame that it's not actually a very clear bottle, but you can maybe see all the ingredients as they are in there. Okay, now what I then do is infuse the ingredients that are already in there with a little bit of energy. Obviously, if you've put all the ingredients in here, I couldn't really do it while I was talking to you, but I was still kind of visualizing what kind of reaction I wanted from the oil, what the ingredients represented, and just kind of making sure that they went in. But just in case, I always like to do this and kind of envelop the jar. Obviously, if it's a bigger jar, you can't really do it like that, but I always try and envision what's going on and what you want to achieve with this oil. So just kind of take that energy and flow it in. I imagine it coming through this hand into the jar and then kind of illuminating my left hand. That's how I do it. That's how I infuse it with energy. So just going to do that for a second. I think also music will help in this moment as well, just in case. Especially if there's a song that kind of means a lot to you, you can really put that on if it's a personal oil that you're going to be doing. If it's for clients, maybe just general love songs or love music, instrumental. I like instrumental because it leaves me free enough to actually imagine what's actually going on and stuff like that. So also, I think it's important as to, if you're going to wear the oil, if you're going to put it on a candle, just to kind of think really as to what the result you want to be, how you want to feel while this is going through. If you're wearing it, how are you feeling once you've worn it? How are you feeling once things are kind of coming through to you? So that's very important. Now I'm not going to use this, but as I say, you can kind of tie it once it's done and kind of, you know, identify it in that way as an oil and keep like the red of love in there, or you can do something like that basically. Also, you can, as I say, you can be with a red candle and burn it alongside, or you can even burn the candle on top. But on a thing as small as this one, you may be a bit juggly with it. So that's all done, and the final touches, whoops, are basically to pour this in. And I always like to leave a little room at the top, so not quite all the way there. So it's just until about here. I just want to see if this will go in. Maybe not this time. I'm just worried about kind of squishing the ingredients too much. But on others you can always put some in. So there you go. So that is my love drawing oil. I can see a little bit of the kind of glittery sparkles in there, but I don't know whether it's kind of picking up on the camera. But basically this will normally be charged in either sunlight, which is kind of half and half because sometimes it can ruin the oil, or you can leave it under moonlight, which I would normally recommend. Now unfortunately it's the new moon today, so there won't be much moonlight outside, but what I would recommend is just kind of putting it out underneath anyway and letting the kind of nighttime kind of energy come in anyway, just to see if you can get some moon stuff on there. But that is how I make my love drawing oil for clients, and basically it seems to work pretty well. I've not had any complaints, and I think that this is kind of something that anybody can do. But what you could do after you've done it as well is maybe, I don't know, there was somebody I knew that kind of held it under their pillow when they were sleeping, but I think it's a little bit of a risk of popping open the jar depending on what you have. But yeah, if you want to just kind of wear it as you sleep, or to keep it beside you, infuse it with your energy, again if it's personal, that's really good to do too. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. Because it was my first tutorial thing, maybe a little bit rambly, but I always think that when doing this you have to have some personality behind it. That's why I kind of listed all the kind of various ingredients that I can use, but sometimes I don't use all of them because I think it can overwhelm the intention of the spell or the oil. So I only use a few, but there's various different things you can do. You can even kind of get a Sharpie or some paint and paint the outside of the oil with some runes. I don't tend to do that often enough. I think I really get some brilliant results when I do that. But it's just kind of an example as to what you may want to do in your own craft or in your own kind of experience if you're just beginning. But I'm open to any questions, and thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this works for you. Do let me know if you try it out. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you want any more advice, just feel free to email me. My address and all the information is down below. And yeah, thank you ever so much, guys.